Today I want to talk about the concept of what the worst movie of all time is. For a lot of people, the idea of what the best movie of all time is pretty easy to figure out, and for a lot of people that's Citizen Kane. When I would be asked what the worst movie of all time is, I would a lot of times say something like, say, The Fanatic starring John Travolta, or maybe Delta Force with Chuck Norris. Movies that are really bad, but the problem with those movies is that they're actually pretty enjoyable. You can laugh at the absurdity of them. And so I started to think, what's a movie that's so bad it's not even good? It's just bad. And so my mind began to drift to just one movie immediately. A movie called Blue. I watched this movie for the first time in freshman year, and I didn't really know anything about it going into it, but the movie had a reputation, to say the least, before I would watch it, because everyone in school was saying, "Oh, have you seen Blue yet?" And I'd say, "No, what is it?" They'd say, "Oh, you just have to see it." Basically, Blue is essentially a experimental film in which the entire movie is just a blue screen. That's it. It's just a blue screen. For what I saw was 13 minutes, but the actual full-length version is an hour and 10 minutes. And as I was watching it, I became more and more insane. As I was watching it, I had this idea that maybe something will happen. Maybe someone will walk in front of the screen, or maybe something like that will happen, but nothing happened the entire time. It was just a blue screen with narration. And the thing that was awful about it was not only was it just a guy talking with a blue screen, but it was like possibly the most pretentious narration you could ever have. It was just a very predictable type of narration for this type of experimental film in which he's like, "What is life if not impertinent? Life is like water. It flows everywhere." Accompanied by this blue screen. If it was maybe like, shots of like landscape, like mountains and like beautiful fields, I would maybe, not hate it. And I feel like the entire class collectively hated it. And we kind of bonded throughout that entire 13 minutes. And it was similar, I'd imagine, to how soldiers bond after war. Going through something so awful, you all collectively bond because you're the only ones that have gone through that type of situation. I couldn't tell if the teacher enjoyed showing this to us, or if she was also hating it. What made the experience of watching this movie even worse was that after we watched it, the professor then began to explain how this is a very important film and how it symbolizes avant-garde cinema and how it's very important. And I'm just looking at it like it's just a blue screen. I understand that experimental cinema is very important and you can take a lot from it, but in my opinion, there's really nothing you can gain from watching this movie. So that was my worst movie of all time. And by the way, not to be confused with the better movie called Blue, which is part of the Three Colors trilogy. This movie is a different movie called Blue, but it's the bad one. So I'd love to know what your guys' worst movies of all time is. Is it something like The Fanatic, where it has elements that you can actually laugh at because of just the absurdity of it? Or is it something that is just painstaking to get through, like Blue? Until next time, see you later.